Jai Swaminarayan students. Today we'll continue with lesson number 1, that is part 2 of lesson number 1, history of computers, right? Okay, before starting that, let us just recall what did we study in part 1, right? We studied about some earlier calculating devices like abacus, Pascal's adding machine, Leibniz calculator, analytical engine, and some electronic computing devices like ENIAC and UNIVAC 1. Today we are going to learn about generation of computers, right? Basically the term generation means how hardware and software has evolved over time. Correct? Okay. Now let us learn about first generation of computers between 1940 to 1956. We had the first generation of computers which used thousands of vacuum tubes. Vacuum tubes you are able to see on the screen. These are called vacuum tubes. So thousands of vacuum tubes were used. As a result, they consumed a lot of power and released a high amount of heat. They were large in size and were very expensive also. Machine language was used to program using punch cards and paper tapes. They were the fastest calculating device of that time and could do 5,000 additions per second and 350 multiplications in 1 second. The examples include ENIAC, EDVAC and UNIVAC 1. The second generation of computers came between the years 1956 to 1963 when transistors, as you can see in the picture on the screen, these transistors, they replaced the vacuum tube. So that means first generation computers, they used vacuum tubes, and the second generation computers, they replaced the vacuum tubes with transistors. Okay. This made the computers smaller, faster, cheaper and more reliable. They were more energy efficient, though they still generated a lot of heat, but they were more efficient and they were more reliable and faster. They were also the first computers to use magnetic core technology, and it stored instructions in memory. They used machine and assembly language to program. Examples include IBM 7090 and CDC 3600. The third generation computers was between 1963 to 1971 when the integrated circuits, that is ICs, replaced the transistors. That means first generation computers, they used vacuum tubes. Second generation computers, they used transistors. Now those transistors were replaced by ICs, that is integrated circuits, in the third generation. Right? This again made the computer smaller, faster, cheaper than earlier computers. Right? They were accessed using keyboard, monitor and even had an operating system also, and were made available to larger number of people now. Examples include IBM 360 and PDP-11. The fourth generation computers started nearly in 1971 with the advent of microprocessor, which used VLSI, that is very large scale integration technology, to have thousands of ICs, that is integrated circuits, on a single silicon chip. This made the computer more smaller and portable. Portable, that means you can easily shift it from one place to another, right? The thing which you can easily lift up and port it, that means you can take it from one place to another, is called portable. They were cheap and they worked at high speed with lot more accuracy and reliability. They had larger memory, so led to explosion in development of GUI software, that is GUI software, and application software and other handheld devices. Examples include all the computers that you see around today. The future is the fifth generation computers which will be based on the artificial intelligence. They will be using ULSI, that is ultra large scale integration technology, making it more and more faster and reliable. That was all for the lesson. Let us just revise what we learned today. We learned generation of computers, right? We have 5 generation of computers. The first generation used vacuum tubes. Second generation, vacuum tubes were replaced with transistors. In third generation, they used integrated circuits. Fourth generation used VLSI, that is very large scale integration. Fifth generation used artificial intelligence, and ULSI, that is ultra large scale integration. Let us jump to the exercise part. You can pause the video when you are completing your book. Let us see fill in the blanks first. The first is dash was the first machine used for calculation. It was the abacus. Next, dash computers were operated manually, mechanical. The component used in the third generation computers is ICs, integrated circuits. Next, voice recognition is supported by which generation computers? The fifth generation computers. True or false? The Leibniz calculator worked on strings and beads. Wrong. What worked on strings and beads? It was abacus. Next, UNIVAC 1 was the first commercial electronic computer. Yes, true. EDSEC computer was huge in size. Yes, UNIVAC. Then you have ENIAC, EDUAC, EDSEC. This all were the computers which were in huge size. Next, transistors were used in fourth generation computers. No, transistors were used in second generation computers, and fourth generation computers they uses microprocessors or VLSI. Then next we have is MCQs. The first electronic computer is ENIAC. This was made up of a step drum connected to a counting wheel and teeth. That is Leibniz calculator. Third and the last one, which of these machines worked on electricity? That was ENIAC. Okay, here we complete our first lesson with explanation and exercise part. Kindly complete your book and we'll continue with the next lesson in the next session. Jai Swaminarayan.